Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of This Life, a podcast by Mayorca Media. I'm your host, Felix Mayorca. As always, we're here at the Local Hub Studios. Big shout out to Local Hub and everything they do for the podcast. Also, big shout out to our two other sponsors, Express Yourself and Picnicked. More from them later. That was seamless. All right. Today I'm sitting with my guest, Sarah Kramer, right? Mm-hmm. Is that how you say your last name?
Yeah.
Kramer versus Kramer.
It's spelled differently though.
Oh.
There's a silent E in there.
Gotcha. How's it going?
It's going great. It's going good. I know we were just talking as soon as I walked in about how it's been, actually going, but
yeah,
we're doing great.
Okay. So, I've been wanting to have you on the podcast for a while now. I like how you're like looking through the, if you want to bring it, maybe push it this way.
I wish I could look at you.
You can push it this way if you want. Push it.
Oh,
yeah.
I can push it down like this. Oh, here we go. Okay.
Yeah. Better?
Let me get a little bit more comfortable if we're going to be here for a while.
So, Sarah, we met actually at Lumatera's Sip and Swap. Yes, shout out to Lumatera.
Shout out to Lumatera Media.
Hannah and Lacey. Yeah. I almost forgot her name. Yeah, shout out to them cool girls. I was doing video there and I noticed you had like a table of like merch or something. And just pamphlets. Now at the time I was kind of going through my breakdown, my what the hell am I doing in my life, and yeah. I need a job. Yeah. And I just graduated and have education. Literally the same thing we were talking about before. Mm-hmm. But what were you there doing?
It's really funny because I was just talking about this story that I feel like I met you for a reason that day. Mm-hmm. And I've known Hannah since college, and she started this media company where they are pretty much working for and with companies that try to make the world a better place, whether they're sustainable companies, people that care about health and wellness, stuff like that. And she allowed me to come there and have a booth set up basically where I could talk about mental health and just hand out pamphlets. And we did like a little bit of donations and stuff. You had people write down in a jar like wishes of that for themselves, for other people, and for the world and stuff like that. Yep. And basically it was just a really fun time where we were able to talk openly about mental health and exchange numbers with people and hand out resources and things like that. And then you walked up and you were so interested, and I remember that you weren't even there like as a guest, you were there to help, like you were filming and stuff. So then you came up and you were so interested, and I remember being like, oh my gosh, I love that he's so genuinely interested. And then we immediately clicked because we were talking about that we're both creatives and that we're both like interested in talking about this topic and like, hey, we should work together one day. And then that was almost a year ago, or actually a little more than a year ago. Yeah. And the pandemic happened, obviously, and we haven't been able to do as many projects as we were before. But, I was supposed to meet you, I think, because I've been wanting to come on this podcast, too. And I saw you post again last week, and I was watching it, and I was like, you know what? Like, I want to be on that. Yeah. Like, I want to sit and talk because I have so many things that I feel like we are both really passionate about that we could talk about, and people would be interested. Yeah. Maybe. So,
maybe. We'll see. I think I was more drawn to you guys because I did a thing where I was talking to each company, and we'll get into what you guys were promoting, but your mom and yourself, you were so like natural on camera, and I was like, dude, what do these people do?
Thank you.
And
but just your average girl, you know.
But it was more of like a like we know what we're talking about, and we get it. There are some people who are just good on camera, but they're bullshitting, and you're just kind of like, all right, dude, this is just your job, whatever. You took like acting lessons or whatever, but for you guys, it was like you just started talking and like kind of spilling your guts, and I was like, dude, and that's crazy because at the time, I think that's when I first started. When was that? Like October? November. Mm-hmm. So I was like a month into antidepressants, and that morning I remember waking up just being like, I don't think I should go. I'm going to cancel. And I was like, no, do it. No, I'm going to can't.
Right? Isn't that crazy? No, but it's not though. It's not, because I've almost done that I can't even tell you how many times I've done that and almost done that. And the times that I've almost done it and I've gone, great things have happened to me.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, imagine if I gave in to the fear today and I didn't get up and I like wanted to stay in bed. But I just find that I sound more genuine and authentic when I'm talking about things that I'm passionate about. And like, for me, this isn't a job. You know, it's like I feel like I was born to do this and talk about these things because, by the way, backstory, you guys don't even know anything about me. My name's Sarah.
I was like, we're going to get into it. And then
sorry, yeah, okay. My name's Sarah, and I have known Felix for like a year now, and I founded a nonprofit for mental health awareness in the beginning of last year, which is my pride and joy, and I founded it with my mom.
What's it called?
It's called 365 Letters from Mom. But 365 for short, because I feel like 365 letters from mom is so long.
Yeah.
Especially when I'm telling people my email, I almost have to, I spell it all out. It takes like 5 minutes.
Oh, God.
I've been talking about that lately.
Really?
I'm going to have to shorten it. But yeah, it's 365 for short because mental health is 365 days of the year. There are no breaks. And I just feel like we need to talk more openly and honestly about, this topic, especially in your homes. It's hard. And now during the pandemic, I've seen that people are having a really hard time. And people that didn't have a hard time before are now having a hard time and they're confused.
Yeah.
They're like, what is happening to me? Why do I feel like this? They don't understand the difference between sadness and depression because they've never had that episode before. It's all brand new. And I feel like we, as a society tend to not want to talk about it as much because either we feel embarrassed or weak, especially men. Like, men don't like to talk about it. So kudos to you for talking about it very openly and honestly.
Thank you.
We could talk about antidepressants all day. I'm a therapy junkie.
Yeah.
Let's talk about therapy. Therapy is so healthy. Therapy is cool. If you've never tried it, I suggest that you do.
Oh, I suggest it to everyone. Even if you feel like, oh, well, you're having a good day or whatever. But there's always something that, like, maybe you had a rough day at work and you're like, man, I want to really talk about this. Like, don't like hold everything in. But let me go back to 365 Mafia. That you should call them your fans that. When you start your podcast, 365 Mafia.
I know. I've been saying I've been wanting to start a podcast for a long time. Exactly. I've come out only on my Instagram stories to speak, like open. And people message me and they ask me, oh, are you going to start your channel? Like, I like hearing you talk and it makes me feel good. And it makes me be like, oh, okay, yeah, maybe I should. And then I haven't done it. But this is my first step coming on here because I'm really anxious just in general. So it's hard for me to do stuff like this. But I'm trying to come out of my shell. Like, I'm a little shaky right now. But
really?
Yeah, a little, but that's why I have a beer in my hand.
More mango cart. So
don't sponsor that.
Oh, that's right. More beep. So how did 365 start? How did give us kind of a tour into the mind of Sarah and where kind of everything started? I know your mom also said that she dealt with some stuff. But let's start with you before we
talk about this forever.
That's why we're here. We got time.
I mean, the way that it really started is I knew that something was always kind of off in my brain since I was like a kid, like really young. I was different than my friends. I was more emotional, more sensitive, more just more in tune with myself and with others. And I was just very cautious about what I would say to people because I didn't want to hurt anybody's feelings. And, I would be very expressive if somebody hurt my feelings. And I think that a lot of people were just taught to kind of like, oh, brush that off. But I feel things so deeply. And, when you're like that already as a kid, it's like you're wearing a sign on your back that you're sensitive, for your whole life. Like, still to this day, even I'm just known as the sensitive one. But I've learned to embrace it, because I feel like it makes me a better human. Because I'm just one of those people that wouldn't do anything to anybody else that I wouldn't want done to me. And I practice that every single day. But I know now as an adult, it's because I have, such bad anxiety. And I'm bipolar as well. So I'm bipolar and I have clinical depression and anxiety disorder.
Wow.
Which is kind of a lot. Yeah,
Yeah,
I know. But to me, I mean, it's just normal because it's just who I am. So like, I don't feel, you know, now that I know that and I'm aware and, you know, I feel like when you know more about something, it scares you less. So, you know, I read about things. I want to do the research. I want to listen to the podcasts. I want to, you know, read the studies and stuff because I want to know more about my brain and the way that it works and what makes me special. Right. And I don't want to look at it as a bad thing, you know?
Right.
So, but I always knew something was kind of off when I was young. Like, I remember that the first week of middle school, or I think it was middle school or high school, I couldn't go because I was so anxious to start a new school with new friends. I locked myself in my bathroom for a whole week. And my mom was like trying to bang down the door because she's like, you have to go to school. And to her, you know, she was raised in a home where you didn't talk about mental health. So like with her, she has what I have. And she dealt with it a completely different way. So when she was raising me, I feel like I was raised almost by two different versions of her. Because the first half was like what she was taught, which was, you know, we don't talk about that. You know, don't let it bother you. Just brush it off.
You're
get
just
up.
sad.
You need to just get up and go. Like, stop being, you know, a baby, I guess. And then when she realized that that's just not what you should be doing because that's not, you know, what she wanted to have done to her, she totally just was like, we need to change this in our home. And we did. And then, you know, fast forward a bunch of years, she's just so in tune as well and like wants to help me and help herself and help others that her and I decided to found a nonprofit and basically eventually write a book, which would be like 2 generations talking about how we can stop this cycle of, you know, the stigma basically, like within your home and in your family.
Right.
You know, kids are just, they only know what you teach them and what they feel. And, you know, I remember when I was super young that I was so scared to talk about feeling anxiety. And especially with her, even though it was weird because she understands like more than anyone. Yeah. And now, you know, fast forward, here we are. I couldn't be any closer with her. And, you know, it's nice basically to have support is what I mean. And yeah, that's how 365 came about. We were like, oh, we got to help other people make the switch in their home because we did. And it's like gotten us in a way better spot.
So I have 2 things I want to kind of piggyback off of what you were saying. I also kind of grew up as kind of a scared, anxious kid. Mm-hmm. I had some things in my life also that kind of came up out of nowhere. And
trauma too is a huge thing.
Yeah, a little bit of trauma. And I didn't even... You
don't even know it's trauma until you're older. And then you're like,
exactly.
Wow.
Even to this day,
I
like...
have PTSD from that.
Yeah. And I was like, I didn't even think of it. I thought it was just something that happened. And then one time we were talking about it and my mom brought it up and she was like, yeah, that was a rough time in our lives. And I was just like, I started crying. I was like, what the hell?
Because it was validating.
Yeah. I was like, dude, that actually affected me. And then I thought about like, oh my God. And then I was always nervous and like, I was always crying. Same thing. I was a sensitive kid. And then my family, like extended family would like my uncles and stuff, cause I'm Mexican. So they would call me gay and stuff and just make me feel like, because they mean
it as like you're sensitive, you're being like girly or like whatever it is.
Maricón,
but it hurts you more than than people think, you know, because especially the people like us that know we're sensitive and like don't want to show that we're sensitive. Then when people point it out, it's like, okay, well, there's more things about me than just being sensitive.
Exactly. So yeah, growing up, it was just like, oh, he's crying again. Yeah. This gay kid crying again, and I was just like, stop.
Yeah.
But also you said that now that you know more about your brain and like what's going on, you kind of, for me, it's the same thing for me. I started going to therapy. I kind of learned about myself a little bit more. I kind of go through those manic stages where I'm just like, I'm on a high and then I'm on a super low. And then I'm just kind of like antsy. And then I'm like, I'm gonna, but then I know that's happening. So I'm like, okay, I got to take a step back. I got to take it easy.
Usually check yourself.
Yeah. Usually what I do is like, I'll feel it and I'll be like, okay, I have to kind of not separate myself from the world, but just kind of take a step back, work out more, find different outlets to get that kind of antsy feeling, kind of put my energy towards something positive. Otherwise, I'll start.
Yeah, it's nervous energy. Like,
Yeah,
you
I'll
gotta
start, like,
get it out.
If you start drinking, then you're screwed. You're like, let's party, baby.
Well, I had a hard time with that though, as like a teenager, because I was extra socially drinking because I was so nervous to be in social settings that I was drinking too much. And then at the, I would get sick and I would be like, oh, why does this happen to me? And it's because I had to have a drink in my hand because I'm so anxious. I'm like, okay, I need to kill the nerves,
Yeah.
And
that's crazy.
Yeah, so I would advise you not to do that. Or if you see yourself doing that, except for right now, we feel great right now.
No, I always talk about it. For me, alcohol now is breaking bread with someone and, let's have one beer.
You got to find a middle. Absolutely. I mean, no, don't get me wrong. I still go out and have a great time. But I know that if I'm feeling anxious, I actually won't have a drink because it makes it worse.
Yep.
So it's just like one of those things where it's like I have to know myself, know the mood, read the room.
Right. Yeah. That's, well, it feels like I'm talking to myself.
You are. That's why I'm here.
Yeah.
Co-host.
We're going to take a quick break and we'll be right back. What was high school like for you? Whoops. Because I feel like, sorry, before you go, I don't want to interrupt you. High school is weird because your body's obviously going through a bunch of changes. Your brain's going through a bunch of changes. You have those, some people have myself have the chemical imbalances. And you're already like, you're horned up all the time. You're angry all the time. You're sad all the time. Just because you're a teenager. You feel
everything intensely.
What's that?
You feel everything intensely.
Yeah, exactly.
Already.
It's like tenfold.
Yeah.
So at least that's what I went through. How was it for you?
Honestly, you could not pay me any amount of money to go back to high school. And some people are so surprised when they hear me say that because they're like, oh, high school was the best. Like, everybody had such a different experience that half of the people would go back and half of them would be like, oh my God, hell no, I'll never go. And I'm one of those people because I didn't like high school at all. And I think that it was my own fault because that was like the hardest time for me in that age. It was like 14 to 17 was me because I graduated at 17. So I was like 13 to 17. Those were my hardest years.
How old are you?
I'm 24. Or no, I lied. I'm 25.
Oh, 17.
Okay, I'm 25. I graduated in 2013.
Oh.
At 17.
Oh, I thought you said I graduated in 2017. I was like, wait.
Did I say that? Oh, okay. No, I meant... Okay, maybe cut this whole thing.
It's fine. Okay, you graduated in 2013. We're the same age.
Yeah, okay, I graduated in
25
2013.
now. Okay.
I feel like from 13 to 17, it was so hard for me, and I just was dreading waking up and going to school. I didn't want to be around that many people. Yeah. I felt like I didn't have like a solid group of friends, and I always kind of felt like really misunderstood.
Were you a floater?
Kind of.
You float around everywhere?
Well, kind of, but that's just because, your group dynamic would change when things would happen. So like...
Yes, dude!
So like, no, because I had one boyfriend basically in high school for like all 4 years. And then when we broke up, I like lost my friends. So I kind of hung out. No, but it's okay because the friends I ended up hanging out with are still my friends now.
Okay.
So the friend group that I gravitated towards when I was a senior, when I didn't really like have that many friends because I was, just kind of doing other things throughout the other 4 years, I started hanging out with a group that I still hang out with to this day. And those are like my solid friends. And I'm grateful for it. Yeah. And I know that, and it just goes to show you that everything that happens for a reason. And I was always meant to find those people, So like a hard time in my life where I didn't really feel like I fit in anywhere, it led me to the people that I, I'm still friends with to this day. Like my best friend, I became way closer with her that year, and she just had a baby. Shout out to her.
What's her name?
Her name is Amanda. I have like 100 friends named Amanda.
Dude, shout out to all the Amandas, All
of the Amandas. Yeah. One of them's a nurse. One of them is, two of them are moms.
Healthcare hero.
She is a healthcare hero. If she heard me talking about her like this, she'd be like, please stop talking about me.
Well, you don't know what Amanda is.
It was just her birthday yesterday, too.
Oh, there you go.
Her name is Amanda.
She's 26 years old.
No, she turned 25.
25.
I know, I'm the oldest. That's why. Because I'm the wisest. They choose to hang out with me.
Gotcha. That's right.
But I just, and then the same thing after high school. I mean, I didn't really like it, one, because I felt like I didn't really have that many friends that I could really count on. I felt, just kind of like I didn't fit in anywhere. I really liked school, but I didn't like going to school because I had a really hard time sitting in class because I am like a nervous person and I have anxiety. I don't like being called on. I didn't like standing up and giving presentations. I would like fake sick. It was like those things. I just am a better solo student, and like I know that. And it's okay. And when you get to college, if anybody's listening that's in high school and that's hard for you, when you get to college, you can choose to do your classes online like I did. And if you have presentations, and honestly, people like people like honesty.
Yeah.
If you email your professors and you're like, hey, I've done this. I have really bad anxiety. It's hard for me to stand up and blah, blah, blah. They've let me do my presentation by myself after everybody leaves in front of them. Well, because cool. They want you to succeed. When people don't know what's going on, it's like, I just have learned over the years that you need to be honest about how you're feeling and all that. But yeah, so college was kind of difficult, but it got easier as the years go by. And now that I'm an adult and I am not like afraid at all to talk about any of this stuff.
Yeah.
It just doesn't feel the same,
What do you think are some of your triggers?
Oh, I have so many.
Like mine are...
People.
Really? Mine are like life changes. Even though that's gotten a little bit better.
Well, it's normal.
Yeah.
Very normal.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
People have a hard time adjusting to change, especially big changes like moving or divorce. COVID.
We're just talking about that, how COVID was like people's kind of worlds just kind of turned, and people are like depressed and they're like, I've never felt like this before. It's like, dude, your life has completely changed overnight.
It's really sad because I want to look up this quote so I don't get it wrong, or the stat. But I think it's like 90% of child sexual abuse cases are up, 80% domestic violence, 30% of rehabilitation, like for people with drug abuse. And I can't remember the specific statistics, so I'm not going to say the number, but it's a pretty large amount of people that are relapsing. So people that are sober, during the pandemic, during quarantine, a lot of people relapse, which I totally understand because it's hard. You're alone, I get that. People they want to be like drinking more, doing, whatever drugs that they choose to do when you're locked in a house by yourself. It seems like that's really all there is to do at that time. So.
It's rough. That's rough.
No, it really is. But that's exactly why you have to reach out for support.
So what are some of your triggers? So you said people.
People.
Just groups of people?
Because I find myself, the older I'm getting, I like to be alone more because I noticed, and that's not necessarily a good thing, but it's because it's when I feel the safest.
Right.
And I think that, now that I realize that, I'm trying to make more of an effort to go out and be social even when I am feeling anxious, because I don't want other people to make that decision for me. If I'm going to like go out or not or whatever. When I say people, I mean like large crowds, which we haven't really had to worry about that now, but just people in general, like when people say things, sometimes if I'm in that mood, like I'll have a tendency to overthink like what that person's saying, or if they ask me a question and I answer and I'm like, wait, was that the answer I wanted to give? And then I'll
social anxiety.
Yeah. And then I'll be like thinking about it for a minute and I'll almost like miss what they're saying. And, that just like causes me a lot of anxiety that I'll think about that before I even go. And I'm like, do I want to go?
Yeah.
So it's just, you have to just get out of your head and stop even thinking like that and practice positive, self-talk and affirmations where I'm like, no, I'm going to have a great time. I'm going to have a great time. I'm going to, go and talk about this. I'm going to enjoy myself. And if I don't want to be there, I can go home.
Yep.
So I just had to learn to talk to myself like that. Other triggers, memories for me. I have had a lot of trauma too. And sometimes like, it happens more when I'm falling asleep now.
Dude, I was just going to talk about that.
When I'm falling asleep, sometimes I'll get almost like flashback memories of things that were really traumatic for me. And it's almost like I have to relive it before I go to sleep. Like I tell myself, okay, let's go through it and see if we did everything right the time that we did it. And then I'm like, this is such a negative way to think. And then I keep myself up for hours and basically just telling you guys all the unhealthy things that, well, because I feel like it's real, you know, like this happens to all of us, whether we want to admit it or not. You know, you could be in like the happiest, like right now, this is the happiest I've ever been in my life, the most secure I feel, and, you know, just all those things. But it's like, I still have moments when like, same thing, like I'm falling asleep and I'll get, you know, a flashback of something and I'm like, why am I thinking about this? And I have to calm myself down and like tell myself that we're in the present and I am safe and I'm okay. You know, you don't have to like relive those things. And also I find that I tend to replay memories like a story where I'm inferior. So like I'll remember things as if I'm in the wrong all the time. And I put other people up like on pedestals, you know, and it's like, what's the narrative of that story? Like who's telling this story? Like why am I telling it as if I'm not the superior one or like the one that like learned from that, you know?
Yeah.
So I have to remind myself.
So even sometimes when you might be in the right, you're just like, man, you know what? But I did screw up.
Yeah,
You almost kind of talk to yourself. Like I recently had kind of a, not a run-in, but a moment with some friends where I was a little upset at something, and I thought about it after, and I was like, why am I upset? You know, why? I had a reason to be upset.
Yeah, you don't want to like not validate your own feelings.
I was just like, man, I'm a dick. And that's another thing. When I was going to bed, there's that meme.
You have to do self-reflecting though.
Yeah.
You have to, because you can't constantly be like, oh, you did this, you did this, you did, like, what about, you know, you have to look at situations like, what could I have done better?
Right.
You know, because sometimes that is the missing piece, is what you could have done better.
Yeah.
It's not always the other person.
But then also sometimes you fixate on that. Well, I could have been better and I could have said that differently. And
you got to forgive yourself and let go.
Yeah. It's, man, the brain is crazy. I feel like you kind of think the way I think, but like tenfold. Cause I sometimes sit there and I think like, why did I do that? Or why did I say that? Or like, did I say the right thing?
Yeah.
And like, even driving home and this happens a lot less than it used to, but when I was not on antidepressants, I would go out to like pint night or something, and I would say something funny and people would laugh. And then I would see one person like not laugh, and then I would just brush it off. But then I'd be driving home and be like, why did that person laugh? Did I offend them? And then I'd text them and be like, hey, is everything okay? Hey, do you hate me?
Oh my gosh,
like,
I've done, dude, I do that. And no, not anymore. I have, these
bad.
are, by the way, all of these things I'm saying are like the most extreme things that I have done and do. This isn't like an everyday thing for me, but I mean, yeah, it's very normal. It's completely normal, except for people that just don't overthink like that. Like I have friends that, and then you'll be like, oh, you know, is everything okay between us because you reacted like this? And they're like, what are you talking about? They have no idea, because they're not even thinking about it. You're the only one thinking about it.
Look, man, I'm so sorry I blew it. And they're like, blew what?
They're like, no, man, I thought we were all good. I was going to see you next week.
Yeah, exactly.
No, it's
they're like,
normal.
I was thinking about spaceships or something. And I'm like,
I know. Oh, yeah.
Okay.
That's why you can't think too much about it, because most of the time you're the only one thinking about it. So honestly, my biggest thing is write it down. You have to journal. Journaling. If you could walk away from this podcast. If you could get anything out of this entire podcast, it would be to try journaling. It has saved my life. I'm not kidding. So many people tell me that has worked for them. If you're going to try anything, just try that. No one has to read it. You know, you can just keep it in a secret place. At the end of every night, you just write down like some thoughts, you know, like, how did you feel today? What could you have done, you know, to maybe have had a better day? What are you grateful for? What are you looking forward to for tomorrow? Just little things like that. You know, these exercises in your brain, like, when you start doing things every day, it becomes a habit, you know, and then it becomes like a part of your character.
What is it, 30 days? It takes 30 days or something to build an actual habit or something like that?
I thought it was 3 weeks. Maybe it is 30 days though. I thought it was 3 weeks to break a habit. I used to know that because I used to be a really bad nail biter. I used to bite my nails.
Your anxiety to a T, huh?
I stopped.
Well,
I completely stopped. They're very long. You can't see. But they're the longest ever now. And I used to bite them like insanely. And I told myself one day, I was like, I'm not doing this anymore. Yeah. Like, I cannot bite my nails. Like, I'm a grown woman. I need to have like, you know, just such a nervous habit. And it's a terrible habit.
Yeah, I see that when I was a kid.
I stopped. Yeah. But I looked it up and it said it was going to take 3 weeks. And I remember being like, oh, 3 weeks is so long. Damn. And now I want to say it's been probably a year.
Since you bit your nails? Mm-hmm. That's good. Damn.
Like,
so that was like recent, huh?
Yeah. No, my whole life I would bite my nails. It was just my nervous habit. That would always be what I would do.
That's crazy.
It's a really nasty habit.
Yeah, you can get a pretty bad infection from it.
Okay, well.
Anyway.
Don't worry, guys. I'm infection free. My hands are pretty now. I look like an actual girl.
So before this, we were talking about you had a little bit of a breakdown about work and you're an educated woman. Again, you pretty much sounded like me.
I'm so out of context. You're an educated woman.
I know. So I've spoken about this where this is why I'm where I am is because no one would hire me, which is crazy.
Okay. You don't have to wait for anybody to hire you because you can hire you. And I have had an entrepreneur mindset since I was a teenager. I tried building my own multimedia company at 15 years old. It failed, but that's okay because you have to fail in order to grow. And let anybody tell you different. Yeah, and I was 15. And it's just like, yesterday I came in here and I told him that I had a little breakdown yesterday because... And I didn't even know if I was going to talk about it, but I totally should talk about it because it's just the normal way of life right now. Right. And, you know, I've been out of a job for a while, which has been super difficult. And, you know, what I was telling him is like, I have, you know, degrees, I have experience, I have passion, drive, you know, I am committed. I want to work and like, I'm excited to work and I take, you know,
oops. Sorry.
This is not your everyday podcast. Cheers. But cheers. It was just like I had a little breakdown yesterday because I was getting really overwhelmed with, you know, I'm getting married. I'm trying to buy a house. I, you know, want to start a family in a few years. And it's like all of those things are really heavy as is and not working and, you know, trying to start businesses and see, if, you know, if I can get something to stick. It's just been a lot and it's been super overwhelming. And, you know, just because I talk super openly about mental health doesn't mean that I don't struggle. So, you know, I had to get a couple tears out because sometimes you just got to cry. Yeah. And I felt like I hadn't had a good cry in a long time. And it's just like and then like my car wasn't working. It was like all in one day. Oh, it was like my car stopped working and I had to take it in. It was so crazy. I have one of those cars that do that like automatic start stop. Do you know what I'm talking about? So like when you roll up to a light when you stop, it like idles the car, which a lot of people hate, but I kind of like it because it saves gas. Well, and then you like press on the gas again and it starts back up. So now mine's not starting back up. So like at stoplights, it completely turns off and I have to put it in park and turn off the keys and turn on the keys. Apparently it was just a problem with the battery. But of course the battery I have is like stupid expensive. And I can't get any other battery because apparently it will like short out that stop start system. So the guy calls me yesterday and like gives me a fat bill and I'm just like, ugh. So that was just
another thing to worry about.
The icing on the cake. Yeah. So then I just had to have a good cry because I'm like, this is insane. You know, like I have applied for so many jobs and been on so many interviews. And this is just for anybody that's in the same boat as me. There's nothing wrong with you if nobody has hired you because I know for a fact that I am a catch and I know I'm a good worker. No, I'm serious. It's like I have to tell myself this. But I've been rejected in this year probably like 30 to 40 times. Like I'm not even joking. So but I can't let that get to me, you know, and you can't let it get to you either because like that job is just not meant for you. And the right job is going to come to you and your catch. And, you know, just because somebody doesn't want to hire you doesn't mean that you're not good enough. It's just people are looking for specific things. You know, you offer specific things. It just has to be a right match on both sides.
So I actually heard something about, because you and I are millennials, we're on the cutoff, I believe.
Right on the cusp, yeah.
And this kind of, I did a little reflection on myself because you sound just like me 2 years ago, a year ago. It was like, dude, I have experience. I have like, what the hell? why did I go to college? And you start thinking about everything, like rethinking everything. But I heard something once, and I don't remember where it was, or maybe I read it, but it talked about how we are a little privileged, and we kind of have that sense of entitlement of, we did things right. We went to college. What the hell? Mm-hmm. Why isn't the universe giving me things? Why aren't I getting hired? And I almost had to check myself when I read that or heard that. I don't remember where I heard it.
You're right.
But,
that's very true.
Like, I'm not sitting here like, you're privileged.
No.
But,
I fully believe that people are privileged, as am I. And you need to be aware of it. And like, no, you're right. Totally. Just because I did do all of that stuff doesn't mean that somebody has to give me a job. You know?
That's that double-edged sword where you're like, you kind of have to tell yourself, all right, dude, chill. But then it's also like, but like, I'm a catch.
Like, I have to be patient. But like, like, I wish it was happening now. I just know that everything happens for a reason. I have to have faith. Like you do, the right thing will come along. It'll be fine. It'll be okay.
Or you could just start a podcast.
I know, but
easiest way. But follow
me on Instagram if you would listen to my podcast at Sarah_Kramer.
I had that kind of, why would people want to listen to me? I had that kind of self-doubt that, why would I start a podcast? It was like, I want to do it, but I really don't want to. And that was when I was looking at life kind of in a pessimistic way of like, no one's hired me, so no one likes me. I'm a loser. I don't have a job. Still living at home. And I went to college, and I was coaching high school at the time. And the girls would be like, "Where do you live?" And I'd be like, "Here in Escondido."
Yeah,
oh, do you have roommates?
Like,
and I'm like, yeah, and I'm like, yeah, I have 2 roommates. They're
and they go by Bill and Janet.
Felix and Rosa. They're pretty cool.
Your dad's name's Felix too?
I'm the 3rd.
Oh.
Yeah.
Are you gonna name your kid Felix?
Heck no.
Oh, I thought you were going to say yes.
No,
really?
I was going to say fuck no. I tell him all the time, dude, because
sorry, Mom.
No, my mom doesn't care.
Sorry, Dad.
Sorry, Dad. I tell him all the time, I'm like, he'll get mail and he'll open my mail. I'll be like, dude, what the hell? Or he'll be like, hey, why is your credit card bill so high? Or something like that. And I'm like, dude, that's not for you to check. Well, put your middle initial on it. And I'm like,
oh, because he thinks it's his.
And
you know what, when you get
small,
your own space, because I'm going through that too right now.
Really?
So we moved in with my parents, and they are letting us. They gave us a time limit of how long we can live there for free, so we could save for a house.
That's hard.
I was so grateful, and still am very grateful for that, because I know not everybody has that opportunity, and especially during right now when I'm not working, it's really saving us right now that we're able to live there. But I do struggle with the fact that I'm 25. And I'm living with my parents, but it's just such a normal thing. Like, majority of my friends do, especially girls, they do live with their parents, because it's like, have you tried to buy a house right now? Have you looked?
I've looked.
Insane.
Even rent.
You cannot, you almost can't afford anything on one income.
Yeah.
You can't. So it's like, you have to right now, and it's sick too, because we were listening to these stories of our parents coming over to Temecula and buying their house for like $90,000 or $125,000, and it just makes me want to throw up.
How long ago?
Like the 90s.
Yeah. But now,
or like the 80s, but I'm like, how
they're still in Temecula. It's like 400,000, 500. You go south. That's
very expensive though.
Yeah.
For people, especially, for people that make regular jobs, $40,000, $45,000, $50,000 job. Like, that is really hard to qualify for a home for $400,000, $500,000. So right now it's almost like it's really, really hard to get something unless you have multiple people with really good jobs. And, I am no expert, but I have heard that the market is going to crash. I don't know if that's true, but if it is, you should hold off on buying, because right now it's a seller's market. It really is.
That's what I've heard.
I have had 3 homes that were literally pulled out from under me because somebody paid cash.
Damn.
In the last month.
And they're going to resell it.
It's not a joke.
They're going to resell it.
So it's just one of those things where it's like, you got to do what you got to do right now. And I don't mind living with my parents because, they're helping me. They tell me all the time, oh, I wish my parents would have helped me like this. So it's just one of those things. It's a full circle. Yeah. I'm going to have to take care of them when they're old anyway.
Yeah. That's, I think about that after too.
So I'm like, you know what? I don't, I'm very grateful, and they're going to need me like I need them right now. So.
Yeah. And we're going to be there. For sure.
Exactly. My mom told me that if I ever put her in a home, she would come back and haunt me. But I would never do that because I know that those places aren't always the best. You know?
You know what's funny?
She was like, I'm not playing, Sarah. I'm serious. I'm like, okay.
My parents, they're like 53 and 54, I think. And I always fuck with them. I'm like, when they first turned 50, I was like, 5 more years. It's like 5 more years. Yeah.
Because my mom is obsessed with like ghost adventures. Like she believes no, but like for reals, and I believe this too. She believes in souls getting stuck, which I think is, totally a thing. And so she's very concerned.
I believe in it.
That will happen to her. So she tells me like, okay, wherever I die, you have to have somebody come and bless that place and make sure I'm not stuck. I literally told her, I'm like, how am I supposed to figure out if you're stuck? And she's like, I'll send you a sign. I'm like, what if we're outside? Like, what if you died outside? She's like, just bring somebody to that general area. I'm like, oh, like, I'm serious. These are the kind of conversations that we have. Because she's like,
That's so funny, dude.
She's so concerned. So anyway, I won't let her go to a home, and I'll bless her death spot.
So
she go. This might seem like really morbid to people, but these are the kind of conversations you have to have with your parents. Like we had to have that conversation, and she also told me, like if she wants to they want to be cremated and they want their ashes spread in the ocean in Hawaii, because that's where my mom's from.
Right.
So I'm like, I want to know that, even though it's sad, because obviously I don't want them to. What if, God forbid, something happens and then I don't even know if I'm supposed to cremate them or bury them or.
Yeah.
I mean, now we're at the point where like I'm grown up and I have to make those decisions, and I don't want to decide for somebody else if they're gonna get buried or cremated. That's such a personal decision.
Just thinking about that is like, especially it's not even like someone else, it's like,
and your
parents,
mom, like I don't even know if I want to be. I don't know what I want to do.
Exactly. You have a fiance?
I do have a fiance,
and he is, where'd you meet him?
I met him through a mutual friend that we have.
How long have you guys been together?
We have been like officially together for like a year and like almost a year and a half, I think.
Okay.
Like dating. I think we started dating like last August.
Nice.
And then we had met like over the years before and been in the same place, and we have been with other people. And we like never talked and weren't friends or anything. But he says that he remembers me. I know, me too. And he says, he's like, I remember you.
I'm a rom-com, whatever.
Yeah, no, I know I'm an actual love story. But he's like, I remember you like in other places, and I remember you being with your other boyfriend. Like he remembers, he totally remembers. And he remembers my outfit and all that stuff. And I'm like, damn, you're creeping on me hardcore. Well, it was Halloween, so technically I was wearing a costume. It wasn't just my outfit.
Okay.
But
all right. He's like, blue jeans,
I know, he's
brown
obsessed with me. Yeah. No, I'm just kidding. And then the first time I ever talked to him, we were at that mutual friend's birthday dinner, and I saw him like across the table, and I remember like I was asking questions about him. And at that time, him and I had both lost a bunch of weight, both doing keto. So that was our conversation starter, was keto, because I totally skipped over this, but I'll go back to it. But anyway, that was like the way we started talking. We were like, oh, you did that diet? Oh, me too. And we like started talking about health and fitness and like working out, and like, that's a big thing that we like to do together, is like we like to exercise together. It's just a lifestyle thing for us. So that was just how we started talking. And then we parted ways and ran into each other every month for like 3 months after that, like random places. And we were like, okay, we need to like talk,
Hook up.
So the last place, yeah, actually, no, I'm just kidding. So the last place, it was brunch, and I went to brunch to meet up with my friends, and I didn't know he was going to be there. Mm-hmm. And at this time, he had ghosted me, because we started texting the time before, and then he stopped talking to me for like a month, and I just like deleted his number. Like I was just like whatever about it.
Yeah.
And then we saw each other at brunch, and I didn't want to talk to him because I was like, oh, this dude is like
this douche.
Yeah, just like whatever, ghoster. Anyway, that was the day we started dating, and then I never stopped talking to him after that. We spent the whole day just like at brunch, ignoring all our other friends and just like getting to know each other, which was
eating
nice.
Eggs with cheese and bacon.
Pretty much, yeah. We were at shout out to 1909 down in Old Town. Temecula.
Oh yeah, Temecula.
It's a great brunch place.
Place is really good.
Yeah, but anyway, now he's my fiance. So
that's awesome. What was keto like? I did keto.
I liked it, but it is not something that's sustainable for your life.
It's so bad. Dude.
People have very different
so
experiences with it. And all I have to say is you need to know your body. Don't listen to anybody else's story about, I mean, like, listen to it, but don't think that that's how your body's going to react, because everybody's different.
Yeah.
And like my dad, so I got my dad on it after I did it. So I lost 50 pounds on it. And
holy cow.
I used to be, so like with depression and everything, like I gained a bunch of weight, and I went through like a pretty bad breakup, and you know, I had a couple of things happen, and I was like, okay, I want to make a change in my life. Like, I want to be healthy and happy inside and outside. And I deleted all my social media. I quit my job, and I was like, okay, this is the time where I'm going to like build myself. And it was like a full transformation for me. I started I started getting all into like mental health. I started 365. I got my first corporate job in marketing because I had the fear because I quit my job. And I was like, I am as a waitress, because I was like, I want to be more than that. Not that there's anything wrong with being a waitress, but I did that all through college, so that way I could work in marketing and, you know, advertising and all these things I'm really passionate about. And I never did it. So I was like, I need to quit my job, because otherwise I'm going to get stuck, you know? And then I was like, okay, I'm going to go on keto because I wanted to like get really healthy. And I ended up losing 50 pounds on that. And that was like my big transformation. You know, I got more into my faith, and like that's who I am right now. So this was like a couple years ago.
That's awesome.
And yeah, and then that's how 365 was born.
Yeah.
But
shout out to Keto.
No, I mean, I really liked it. It was crazy because I wasn't even trying. I think it was a mix, because like I said, I was going through a breakup, which was really rough. And I moved because I didn't want to be in the home I was in anymore. I deleted all my social media. I didn't want to hang out with my friends. I quit my job. It was like so many things at one time that I feel like the weight shed off so quickly because of all of that, combined with the fact that I was doing keto. So like for me, I dropped like 30 pounds in like 3 to 4 weeks, which is an excessive amount of weight.
Wow.
Like excessive. And that's why I was going to say, I think it had to do with the diet, but it also had to do with like the anxiety and, you know, the moving and just all of those big life decisions that I was making at that time. And I don't weigh what I weighed when I dropped to my lowest, because it was too low in my opinion. So I started my heaviest, I was 181. And then when I did keto, I went down to 131. And now I'm like 146. And like I'm the most comfortable right now, because I'm like,
You're
I'm
like
5'4".
5'4", okay.
So like for me, I'm the most comfortable in the 140s. Even like 150, I feel good. I've always weighed more than I look like I weigh, and like that's why it doesn't bother me at all talking about weight, because I'm like, it's just a number. You know, it's about how I look in the mirror. If I look in the mirror and I feel good, and I like what I see, that's literally it. I want to be happy and healthy. It doesn't matter. Like, don't let anybody tell you that it matters. And I went up in weight, and now I don't eat keto. I have like a balanced, I kind of found a middle, you know, like I eat keto foods, like keto friendly foods. Like I've gotten really into cooking. So I like to make keto meals because I like the low carb and the high protein, but that's because I work out. If you don't work out, you just have to adjust it to fit you, you know? And the biggest thing too is if you do keto and then you stop and you start eating normal, you're going to gain all that weight back.
Dude, it's
so fast.
It's so fast.
You have to be very careful. Yeah, because people don't understand, because basically when you're on the keto diet, it's a high protein, high fat, low carb diet. And basically you're eating so much fat that your body, it's like shedding. It's so hard to explain, but it basically sheds fat because it's burning it so quickly, and you don't store any fat on you. Yeah. And you're basically tricking your body to go into ketosis, and it burns fat insanely fast. I know I just said that like 3 times. It's just, I'm not a nutritionist. I'm not good at this, you guys.
The quick way, because when I did it, I lost, I think 15 pounds, which I mean, I'm not a very big dude.
No, 15 pounds is a lot on people. Yeah.
And that was in like a month. And
I used to be like way heavier.
Yeah. And I also lost muscle mass because that's just how it was. But people were like, oh, how did you do it? And it's like you eat, like, for example, in the morning, I had eggs. I had 6 eggs. I had bacon. I had 4 pieces of bacon. Mm-hmm. Well, first of all, I would cook the bacon, take the bacon out and then put the eggs in the bacon fat.
Oh, of course.
And then
That's how you cook eggs.
Yeah, and then have the side of an avocado. And I wasn't hungry till like 3 or 4.
Yeah.
Like that would hold me off.
Fasting helps too.
Exactly. And then I would have the butter coffee. So you have coffee and you put butter in it. You whip it up.
Really?
Yeah. You didn't do that?
No, I used to put
coffee?
protein shakes in my coffee.
Oh.
So instead of creamer, I would put flavored protein shakes, like a chocolate one.
There you go.
10 out of 10 recommend that.
Yeah.
Because you're literally drinking protein coffee.
Yep.
And it's good.
So I would do the butter coffee. So butter and MCT oil, bulletproof coffee, whip it up.
Apple cider vinegar. Should take a shot of that.
Oh.
What?
That's so gross.
It's so good for you.
It's good for you, but it's like,
Ew.
anyway.
You did that so good. I heard you swallow all the way down in my ear.
It's loud. This thing's loud.
It is.
Yeah. So as you can, as like you take away just breakfast and it's all fat. So then since your body has no carbs, then
it burns the fat on your body.
it takes the energy from the fat. So
There
then
you go.
boom, you burn the fat. Anyway.
Coming from two non-nutritionists,
I know.
that was our best way to explain it. Sorry if it didn't sound educated.
I mean,
I promise I know what I'm talking about.
I listen to Joe Rogan, so I know what I'm talking about. So
we should ask him to come on.
he definitely would, he would probably fly me out to Texas because he's there now.
Oh my gosh, I would die. I would love to be in a podcast with him, just in the same room with him. I want to pick his brain.
My mom tells me that J Balvin's going to be on my J Balvin. He's going to be on my pod. She's like, I'm telling you, it's going to happen.
She's speaking it into existence.
Yeah. And I mean,
you have to do that. You got to speak stuff. I'm speaking it into existence right now that he will be on your show. And will Joe Rogan. And I will be there as well because you're going to invite me.
You're going to be like,
I'm going to be waiting for the call and be like, yes, I will be there.
I'm just going to call you and be like, on my way.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Anyway, how does your fiance handle all of this? Because that's one of the biggest things is having that relationship where I'm open about it now. I'm like, look, I have my off days and this is what I need on my off days and it's going to happen. I have an off week or I'm super stressed at work. Like, this is what I need or don't need. So
this is a great question because people that struggle with mental illness or with their mental health, you will find that you are very different with every partner that you have. Mm-hmm. And some, will trigger you and some will help you and everybody does something different for you, but you have to find somebody that's so supportive and open to the fact that they might not know what you're going through, but they get it, And I mean, he's great. I have been, I've been in a few different relationships and I have come to find that it's insane. Before David, his name is David, my fiance's name.
Shout out to David.
Before I met him, I never thought that I would find anybody that would be so understanding and so supportive of even my off days because that's just who I am, and he's just like, I couldn't have even dreamed him up, like, if I tried. He's like, whatever I'm going through, he knows the boundaries, so he gives me the, are you okay first? And like, if I'm not, he asks me like, do you need my help? Or like, do you want to do it on your own? Like if I'm having a panic attack or, I'll tell him like, hey, I want to be left alone or like, yes, I want you to come, in here and comfort me. And it's really all about communication, and for him to be super understanding that like, I'm going to have those days and those moments and those episodes and things. And that's just like who I am. And the fact that he accepts that, I think it's easy because it's not like he's sitting there going, ugh, here she goes. It's more like, oh, okay, you're upset. Like, are you okay? Can I help you? Like, what do you need? And like, that's what somebody like me needs. I can't be with somebody that's, oh, well, then why don't you just call me when you're done? Or why don't you just, you know what I mean? Like, you have to be with somebody that is going to get through it with you.
Sorry.
No, it's okay.
I'm like fixing I kept hearing myself like
breathing?
Breathe. Yeah. And I was like, oh, I got to turn it down because I'm breathing heavy.
Oh, no, it's fine.
Like a fat dude.
No, but.
Anyway, he's really good. So gross.
You absolutely have to find somebody that is open and understanding and gets it or not even that, but just being like open to the idea of not understanding because then you can explain it to them,
right?
Because he doesn't feel he doesn't really struggle with that, with depression or anything. Like, sure, he feels anxiety sometimes, but like a normal person does. You know, when he just at random times, or when something triggers him, or he's had too much coffee, or like, you know, like he'll have anxiety at random times, but he's not like an anxious person. So like for him, you know, I have like tells. So like little things I'll do like with my arms or something, you know, when I'm feeling anxious, and he'll just like reach over and he'll be like, "Are you okay?"
Dang.
And I'll be like, yeah,
David,
yeah.
You stud.
I know.
That's sweet.
That's how, I mean, come on. That's why I said yes to marrying him. He's like, I know.
He's the man.
He is the man.
David, your favorite.
Right? I know. He's the best. But
that's awesome.
He likes to just be like chill, and like, he really is. He's just so chill. He's just like you do your thing. Like, you need me, you call me. Like, just so calm, and like wants to come and be a part of it. But he doesn't ever want to be on the camera. He wants to be like behind it, which is fine.
Yeah.
But like, because I like to be behind it. So I like to use him as like a muse, but he doesn't really want to be. He wants to be behind it, more in front.
Just behind the scenes.
Yeah, because I know like if I ever do, because like I'm trying to start a channel as well, and talking about like mental health and stuff on YouTube. And he's in a couple of videos and stuff, but you know, sometimes he just says like he would rather it be me, or like he'll film me, you know? Mm-hmm. So I try not to embarrass him and get him all into this speaking out life, you know?
Right. So I want to kind of end on this. Let's go back to 365.
We've been talking for so long, I didn't even realize how long we've been talking.
It's only been like 58 minutes ish.
Oh, there you go.
What are some resources out there for, I don't even know if you have this answer, because I always kind of
course I do.
Of course you do. Thank God. Okay.
But I should get my phone so I could read all of the ones I want to read. But
grab it. So while you grab that, I'm actually, the reason I'm asking is, excuse me. Oops. Is because I've always kind of told people, hey, this is what you should do, and this is from my experience, blah blah blah, and what I think is blah blah blah, and I've always kind of want to have like an expert in this stuff. I actually told my therapist that I wanted her on. And, and she was
so fun to have doctors on the podcast to talk about things.
And she was down. Shout out to Judy, but she's a little older right now. She's a little older. So she's kind of keeping her distance. So I'm trying to figure out how to kind of get her on FaceTime and hoping that it works, because sometimes our internet connections aren't the best. I mean, the internet connection here at Local Hub is incredible. Check it out, localhub.st.com. But hers kind of cuts out sometimes.
You're the plug.
Anyway, so what are some good resources for mental health?
Well, I mean, first of all, there are so many different things, but here, let me find this list that I have. I don't want to say all the wrong things, or not all the wrong things, but I don't want to say anything wrong.
Right. No, I feel it. What are you kind of pulling up right now?
Well, first of all, I wanted to start it with it's called, it's SAMHSA. I think people pronounce it SAMHSA. Okay. I don't know. Actually, I'm probably wrong, but it's the national helpline basically. So pretty much it's just a 24/7, 365-day-a-year treatment referral and information service hotline that you call, and it's in English and Spanish. The number for that is 1-800-662-HELP. There's also NAMI, which is the national. Hold on, let me get all these lists up. I kind of want to do this again. Can we start over?
I told you I don't cut anything out.
You better not put this on there. Okay,
just spell it out. It's fine.
It's the National Alliance on Mental Health, okay? And the information for that's a nonprofit, which is in Oceanside, actually. And they have a phone number too. See, he put me on the spot, guys. That's why.
I know we didn't plan this.
Okay, NAMI is the National Alliance on Mental Illness. They are located in Oceanside. They have a thing, but they're originally, I think, from Virginia. But their phone number is 703-524-7600. Other, resources like on Instagram that you can look up is the Jed Foundation, the Trevor Project, It Gets Better, Mental Health America, Talkspace, BetterHelp. There's online counseling that you can do. I think that one is BetterHelp.
BetterHelp,
yeah, is the online counseling.
That's on all the other podcasts.
Oh yeah, and then there's Mental Health Coalition, Heads Together, Child Mind Institute. There's a couple that I have too. There's like Black owned that I really like. I really like saying these, but they're mental health resources for Black people, but they're run by Black Americans, which I think people really like that because they feel like they can relate. Yeah. So it's Dive In Well, therapy for Black girls, inclusive therapists, the NAP ministry. So there's like so many other resources, but actually if you want to find out more, you can visit 365 Letters from Mom.
There you go. Yeah.
Sorry, I forgot to plug myself.
Plug it. That's fine. That's fine.
Since you put me on the spot, I sound a lot more educated when I'm able to, write down what I'm going to say before I say it instead of just being told to speak.
I'm sorry.
So,
I had to do it though.
Guys, I really do know what I'm talking about.
You help people out. Yeah.
Come visit me online. Send me a DM if you ever need anybody to talk to.
Where can people find you?
They can find me on Instagram, on Facebook. They can also find me on the phone. You can reach out to this guy and he will give you my phone number because...
Really?
Yes, absolutely.
Wow.
Because I am not playing around. Like, I wish that there were times that I could talk to somebody like when I was younger and I didn't have that. So if anybody ever needs that, which is funny because you'd be surprised. I have had people do that. I've wrote that before, and I have like at least 2 people that I know of that are my internet friends, and we only talk about when we have anxious days. Like she'll message me and be like, I'm struggling today because she doesn't have anybody to talk to in her house.
That's cool.
Yeah, so it's like, it's little things like that. If I can help one person.
You just gave me an idea.
Did I?
Yeah, you did.
Okay, well, I better get credit whenever you do it.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
Shout out to Sarah.
Shout out to Sarah. Whenever I message someone back, I'll be like, shout out to Sarah. And they're like,
you have to be just like open, and I'm always here to talk. I love talking about this. I feel like I could have kept going for 5 more hours. I
can too, but
I was all over the place, so I feel like maybe we didn't really like stick on one subject, but
we never do.
No, pretty much. I mean, I would love to do this again with you whenever one day. If we'll come back and have like a specific talk about mental health. Maybe we should do like people ask questions and then we answer them.
That's a good one. I'd love to have your mom on too.
Oh, she would love it.
Yeah,
she would love to do that.
Yeah, because
we definitely do that.
We don't really. I feel like we're the generation that always speaks about it, but we don't have the. I don't want to call your mom old.
No, the whole point of it was to have an intergenerational approach. Because people in our parents' generations, like 40s, 50s, 60s, they were raised by, most of them were raised by people that didn't want to talk about it. Yeah. I don't want to like generalize, but I feel like our grandparents' generation, they were like really hush hush, about that kind of stuff. It was it was like almost taboo to talk about, if you were feeling like that. And I don't know what, this blows my mind because it's like, I don't understand. You know how many things could go wrong with your body? You know how many like different illnesses and disabilities we have? Like, how can you tell me that our brains, like the most complex part of us, don't have something wrong? You know what I mean? Like, not everyone is going to be completely perfect and their brain isn't going to develop the same. Like, just because we can't see it doesn't mean that there isn't something there and something that needs to be treated or something that, is like hard for somebody. So talking about it and getting help is like such a normal thing that they just weren't taught.
Yep.
So anyway, she really likes talking about it now. And she wants to help other parents parent their children in a way where they're like more open because somebody has to make the change, in your house. And it's going to be me. So, well, now it was us because I told her, I'm like, I can't live like this. And she's like, you know what? You're right. Why are we not talking about this?
Yeah.
And then her and I like made that switch together. So you be the change, guys.
I've had that conversation with my parents where I'm just kind of like, and I'm like, they're like, are you okay? And I'm like, no, but I don't really want to talk about it.
I'm not.
Or I do want to talk about it. Or like, and of course parents get, especially Hispanic parents, they get very like, well, why are you talking to me? Why aren't you right? And
culturally, it's very different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or you're not allowed to feel that way.
Well, because I have a friend, Hannah, actually. Oh, I probably shouldn't have said her name.
Oh.
Sorry, babe.
Hannah Blacksman.
It's not a big deal. I'm sure she would love me talking about it, honestly. But she told me that too. Like, in different cultures, because she's Filipino as well. Like not as well. They.
Am I Filipino?
You're not. I think it's because for some reason I thought I was thinking Mexican. No. And anyway, but with different cultures, it's just different. you know, like talking openly about that stuff. And like, you know, I was going to keep her, it's not a big deal. It's fine.
What?
Because I didn't keep her anonymous.
I think she'll be fine.
Yeah, she'll be okay.
She's on the internet. I want to have them on. I want to have Lumatera on. Dude.
She would love to come on here. And you know what? I'm going to plug her as well. Again, she also has another side business where she it's called Rerooted Home. And she is the cutest thrifter. And she goes out to thrift shops and finds like the cutest stuff. And then she goes on her page and she like, you know, has it available for everybody to buy. And she's just so sweet and so cute.
And her boyfriend loves her like crazy. And I freaking love it.
Brandon is the best.
Shout out to Hannah
and their dog
Brandon.
Bailey. We're like shouting out to all of our friends.
We're just loving on them. They don't even know.
No, they will know. They better know. I'm going
know.
to send this to them. And if they don't watch it all the way to the end and know I talked about them, then I'm cutting them as friends.
Yeah, that's true. All right. We're going to wrap this up. I've got some birthday celebrations. This is coming out next week.
Oh yeah, happy birthday. Shout out to you.
Thank you. I was just saying, actually, I'm going to finish on this because I like to have the last word. Just kidding. That's so toxic. I think this is the first year where I'm excited for my birthday. I was usually like in my teen years, that was that person that was like, oh, birthdays are stupid. Then kind of like when I grew up, I was like, okay, I'm not really big into birthdays, but if someone wants to celebrate me, they can go ahead and do that. That's fine. And I'll have fun. This year, I feel like I've been kind of reflecting more and just kind of realizing like where I am now and where I was before, where I'm going, and just kind of living in the moment and being like, man, 26 years, like that's so dope. And I've had 26 like happy years and sad years, and it's
the growth.
I'm stoked.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, I'm on cloud 9 right now. Hopefully this isn't a manic episode, but
no, it's not, because the older we're getting, you like yourself more.
Yeah.
I mean, at least I would hope that you are trying to like yourself more, because you're trying to be a better person and like the best version of yourself. You know, the older you get, like you want to be proud,
big time,
of who you are.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
Well, happy birthday to me, Sarah. Thanks so much for being on. I appreciate you coming all the way from Carlsbad, Oceanside, Temecula. Holy shoot!
Yeah, I know. Shoot, look at me. I was making an effort.
All right. Well, I appreciate you coming down. You're definitely going to be on again, and we'll ask some questions for you. We'll ask some questions for your mom, and
we should definitely do that.
Thanks so much for being on.
Thanks for having me.
For the rest of you can find Sarah at Sarah Kramer, right?
On Instagram? It's Sarah_Kramer.
Okay. My bad. And then what's your nonprofit?
It's at 365 Letters from Mom on Instagram and Facebook. And eventually I'm going to start a YouTube channel, but
we'll get there. I'll give you
one day at a time.
I'll give you some pointers.
I'm doing the best I can, as we all are right now during this time.
Exactly. But now's the time.
Yeah, I guess.
Now's the time. Okay. You can follow me at Mayorca Media on Instagram. I just posted, I feel like I don't plug myself enough. I plug everyone else, but
no, you
I just posted a new wedding video on my YouTube. Go check it out. Let me know what you think. I honestly think it's probably one of my best works. It's a beautiful couple, Taylor and Neil. The venue was incredible, and I'm super proud of it. And it's the first time I've worked with a team. I'm actually starting a wedding team, and shout out to Frankie and Alexis, and they did an incredible job. And just editing was so seamless, and it was just so much fun to shoot and to edit. So go check that out on my YouTube, Taylor and Neil's wedding. And yeah, give me a follow, subscribe. What's the thing? Comment, like, subscribe. Nah, for the podcasts. Oh. It's like rate.
I think you just rate it.
Rate, subscribe, and leave a review. Yes.
You should really get that down if you want to be a professional podcaster.
I know.
You embarrass yourself right now. and me.
And I have to write it down. Anyway, thanks so much for listening. I'll catch you on the next one. Bye.
Bye, guys.
That was we started off so good at it.
I liked it.